Right, don't say anything crazy. We're recording, folks.
It's
All
official.
right, you're on. That's right. Thanks, Shaun. Go.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. Good to see all of you tonight. Thanks for tuning in. And yes, if you have a deck of cards nearby, go ahead and grab it. The lecture is going to be pretty card heavy tonight, so bear with me, and we'll see how it goes. We'll start out with an in the hands triumph routine. Let me go ahead and adjust the camera here. It should be halfway decent, right? Does that look decent? Look good? Cards clear?
Yeah, well, a little rough, it's a little bright.
Let me try to dim it a little bit here. Better?
I think that's better.
Okay, cool. So, borrowed shuffled deck. You have someone select a card. Let's say they choose this one here. Mesmerize the card. Okay, burn it into your memory there. Gets lost back into the middle. Very fair. So it's gone. No breaks, no crimps, whatever those are. And give it a good shuffle. And of course, to make it a little bit more difficult, I will try to find the card while the cards are face up and face down. So I just kind of mush them together, which of course gives us a big mess, right? Some cards are face up, some cards are face down, back to back, face to face. With a little magic, one card pops out of the middle, your Queen of Spades. And as an extra bonus, now the entire deck is facing the exact same way. Except, of course, for your Queen of Spades.
Oh, that's awesome.
Thank you. So let's go ahead and try to break this down a little bit here. And again, feel free at any time to shout out if you have any questions, comments, concerns, complaints. And Chad will be dealing with the complaints, by the way. All right. So this is basically, I combined two different triumph routines. The first half is basically called, this is Tyler Wilson's iPod Shuffle from his book, Reinventing the Reel. Check that out if you get a chance. It's an awesome book. Tyler's one of my favorite magicians working today. And the second half is Flippant Triumph from Ernest Erich's book By Forces Unseen, written by Stephen Mitch. And in that version, you basically had to do like some table, like on the table, riffle stacking, and you had to do like a zero under 3 cards and stuff like that. And then you picked up the deck and then did the move in the hands. So this is all in the hands here. I combined two different versions, and I call it I Flip, because the first half is iPod Shuffle, the second half is Flippant Triumph. You get I Flip. That's what I came up with anyway. So, and I also added a couple of Steranko touches because I am obsessed with Steranko, almost to the point that it is unhealthy. But I did add a couple of Steranko touches to this routine. And here's how it starts out. So a card is selected, let's say the 2 of spades in this case. You place it back into the middle, out jogged about halfway. Now this move to control it is basically, it's based on Steranko's diagonal palm push through move, which basically gets the card in this position, in jog slightly. This is exaggerated here, but that's what it's supposed to look like. A lot of people think that this move is kind of outdated, but there's also a move in Steranko's book, Steranko on Cards, and he calls it the push through move, the Steranko push through move. And basically the idea here is if you give it a sharp quick downward push, it will automatically come out the back end. So that there's, might be able to see it from that angle there, just barely shot out the back end. So of course, if you want to, you can set the cards down, walk around, blah, 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 talk a little bit, and then pick it up, and you still got your little brief in the back there. So what I do is I push down on it. I might have lost it. Was it the two? Two of spades? Yeah, there it is. And I basically riffle shuffle it to the top. Okay. So their selection is on top of the deck now. Or control the card to the top using your favorite method. So from here, you go into the Tyler Wilson's iPod Shuffle, the first half, the mixing part. So you take the top half, revolve that around to the right hand, so it's face down, and then the half in your left hand gets flipped face up. Okay. Now, at this point, the selection is on top of your right hand half. That is going to get up jogged slightly as you supposedly weave them together, as you mush them together. But what's really going on here is the left hand half goes above the right hand half as you mush them together, right? And you kind of get this, so the out jogging at here kind of hides the fact that they're not actually getting weaved together. Okay, so situation check at this point, selection face down on top of the deck, half face up, the other half face down. So you're basically in the normal triumph position at this point. You cut off about a quarter of the card and say, of course, you know, some cards are face up, some are face down. Lift up at the natural break that are back to back at this point. Hold a pinky break, and now you are ready for the flippant triumph move by Ernest Eric. And it's based off, you know, the flippant move, the Louis Simonov's flippant move. And the idea is, the basic idea is to do it on under the top two cards that are back to back, and you get like a color change effect or a changing effect. But this here, once you got to your pinky break, in slow motion, this is what happens. You quickly drop the hand down, and as you do that, you ease your grip. And as your hand's coming down in slow motion here, the top half flips around halfway. It gets caught on your thumb. As you extend the hand open, the selection pops out. That's the first effect. You found their card. And as an extra bonus, now all of the cards have righted themselves. Okay, and so to end here, or to end any routine when you're in this position here with the selections out jogged, I clean up with the Steranko twist move that can be found in Genie Magazine, March of 1961, if anybody's interested. So kind of like just to give like a little exclamation point at the end of the routine, you do the twist, the Steranko twist. So you basically clockwise with the middle finger, revolve it all the way around, back up to the top, flip it face down. And as Daryl would say, you end clean. Questions, comments, or complaints?
That was really great. Thank you. That was awesome.
Very cool. Thank you.
I love older stuff.
It's kind of movie, but it does take a little work, but you'll be all right. And feel free to follow along too if you have a deck of cards. So that was I Flip. And do we have any fans of the trick that fooled Einstein?
Yes,
Oh, good.
I love that. I've been playing around with it a lot recently.
Oh, good. Do you do the version with cards or coins?
Oh, sorry. I got $2.85 in my little Mickey purse. So I do it.
That's awesome.
I haven't had much opportunity to play with it. I've totally fried a couple of muggles with it.
Good. So I do the version with cards, and this is what I came up with. I was actually inspired by the David Britland article that he put out on his blog. He basically gives the entire history behind the trick that fooled Einstein. And it's pretty fascinating too. He did all kinds of research, he dug deep, and he basically found out that not only did Al-Quran, the guy that made this famous, not only did he not fool Einstein, but he never even met Einstein. So basically, Al-Quran basically made the entire thing up, which is pretty fascinating. But this is a version, I'll try to break this down for you. And I did it mainly to fool magicians, and we'll see how it goes here. So here's the idea with cards. You say, in a second, I'm going to turn my back, and when I do, you're going to lift off some cards, less than half, okay? So I turn away, the spectator lifts off some cards, and then they put their hand over the cards, or they hide them under the table, so I can't see how many they have. And I say, since you cut off less than half, I'm going to cut off some cards also. So the magician cuts off some cards, say about this many here. Yeah, that feels about right. Okay. So you immediately say, I have as many cards as you. Should I cut off a little too few? As many cards as you, and enough left over to make yours 18. That makes sense? So now for the first time, the spectator counts their cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay. And then I count mine. I have as many cards as you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and enough left over to make yours 18. So that's the basic idea, okay? So in the original version, you had to basically see or guesstimate how many cards the spectator cut off, okay? And then you cut off more than them. That's the key. You have to cut off more than them. And then after each of you count your cards, then you make the statement. I have as many cards as you plus such and such more, and enough left over to make yours such and such. Make sense? So hopefully this fools some of you that have played with the original Einstein routine. Anybody follow along? Comments or complaints?
Oh no, that definitely fooled me.
No, it's
Oh,
great.
good. Okay, good. So I call this the trick that fooled Iron Man, because Iron Man is the method. All right. So back in the day, card cheats or card sharks would refer to an Iron Man as a marked, memorized deck. All right. So that's the method. But before you click on the leave meeting button, it does not have to be a full deck stack, okay? And it even does not have to be memorized, okay? And I'll explain that shortly. But let me go ahead and put these back into order here really quick. All right. The Iron Man, a marked, memorized deck. So because my cards are marked and stacked, 1 through 52, basically. Not in this case. I'm actually using a half stack here. But as soon as you turn away, they cut off some cards less than half, okay? Because you tell them you're going to cut off some cards too, so make sure they leave you some. So they cut off less than half, all right? And then they hide this packet, so you don't know what their cards are or where their cards are or how many or whatever. But as soon as you turn back around and look at your mark on the back of the cards, you know exactly how many cards they have. Okay? So the only thing here is that you have to cut off more than what they did. Okay, so I know they have 16 right now. So I have to cut off more than 16. Let's do this. And set the rest of the deck off to the side. So you immediately make your statement. You say, I have as many cards as you. But I don't say how many yet, because I wait for them to count theirs. Plus, let's say, plus 4 left over, or plus 4 and enough left over to make yours 20. Okay, so my statements have been made. Now for the first time, they count their cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Again, I have as many cards as you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, plus 4 left over, and enough left over to make yours 20. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay, good. Because there's a lot going on there. So, as I said, it doesn't need to be a full deck stack and it doesn't need to be memorized. Let me explain that, okay? So let me show you my markings first of all. And this is basically just a rough draft, and it's gonna appear kind of obvious. So let me give you a close-up view here and see if you can make it out. Let's get a good one here. How about this one?
Is that
Can
the
you
2
see
of hearts?
It says 24, doesn't it?
I was way wrong. Never mind. I thought it's all.
Yeah, who said 24? That's correct.
I did, Scott.
Oh,
Yeah, very-
gotcha.
Yeah, so I basically took an X-Acto knife and etched out the number of my mnemonic stack. So instead of 4 of clubs, 2 of hearts, I wrote down the mnemonic number. Okay,
Oh, gotcha.
so that way it doesn't have to be memorized.
That's
Also,
slick.
if you're using a half stack, you can say, look, you take half of the cards and mix them up. Okay, and as they're mixing their half, you basically give your half a false shuffle or cut, add it back on, and you're good to go. All right. So as soon as they cut off their half, you turn around, you know exactly how many cards they have. Questions, comments, complaints?
Well,
I couldn't see the marking.
Okay, let's try to find another good one here, a different one. How about this one?
Three.
Yes. And this is just a rough draft. I mean, if a spectator is actually up close, they might be able to see it.
21.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's nice. I like that.
And this idea may have been independently conceived by someone somewhere at some time, but it's basically what I came up with, and I call it the trick that fooled Iron Man, because Iron Man is the method.
You said you're using an X-Acto knife on those cards? Is that how you're doing it?
Yeah. So I just took
Scratch out.
Scratching out the ink or what?
yeah, I just scratched it out. Here's, just kind of etch it out there, scratch
Oh,
at it.
cool.
And I did it this way because it kind of blended in with the design
It does.
of the back there. Hopefully it's not too noticeable.
No, it's not.
Okay, good. Okay. How are we feeling so far?
Awesome.
Very happy we did this lecture so far.
Oh, thanks. Thanks for asking, by the way. Very cool. Any Guy Hollingworth fans?
Here.
Yes. Any Hofzinser fans?
Yeah.
Good.
Oh,
So this is a variation of the Hofzinser Ace Problem. And I call it the Hollingworth Ace Problem. And here's what it looks like. So again, a card is selected. Get it, got it good. And you basically say the 4 aces are going to find your card. Okay, so your card gets lost into the middle of the deck, squared, lost, gone forever, nowhere to be found. And again, the 4 aces are going to determine what your card is. We got all 4 here, of course. So focus on the suit of your card in this case. Okay, focus on the suit of your card. All right, with just a little wave, the suit of your card reverses itself magically.
That's awesome.
Thank you. So in this case, not the club, not the diamond, not the spade, but the heart reverses itself, which means your card is a heart. Okay, and you tell them to place their hand over the top of that to make sure no funny business happens. And now if you take the rest of the deck, give it a snap. Now there's one card only, reversed in the middle. Just happens to be the ace of hearts. And if that just happened, then under your hand, you are holding your card, the 9 of hearts.
very nice.
Very nice.
Really well done, dude. That was
Brian.
awesome.
Yay, Brian.
I have a question for you.
Go ahead.
What if they don't pick the ace of hearts?
Very good. That's a very good question. So basically, okay, so in Guy Hollingworth's book, he talks about there's a small little paragraph in his book that basically says you can do the Hofzinser Ace Problem routine using the Guy Hollingworth optical alignment move. Okay, he doesn't tell you how to do it, but he says it can be done. So this is what I came up with, and you guys might be able to come up with something different. I would love to see it. So you display the 4 aces, okay, and the card is selected. Free choice. Free choice. Okay. Now, whichever way possible, you get a glimpse of the suit of the card. You don't have to know. You don't have to know the value of the card. You just have to know the suit. Okay. In this case, I would normally use sleight of hand to get a peek, but I'm looking right at the camera right now, so I see it's a club. Okay. Now, I remember that it's a club. I do a top change.
And of course, like media mob, one softball question after another, it still was not enough for Joe Biden.
What happened?
I
What's
think
going on?
somebody had some
I think
background
something
noise.
came unmuted or something,
Oh, okay.
or something came on. I don't know.
Sorry
We
about
were
that.
just hearing. It's all good.
Okay, so we were at top change, right?
Yes.
So you do a top change as you say, your card is going to be found by these 4 aces here. Okay, so I just switched it out, for an indifferent card is that goes into the middle. The indifferent card is lost. So at this point, you can get like a little bubble peak to determine what the suit is, if you want to. Now, whatever suit they selected, you have to put that ace suit third from the top. So in this case, since it's second from the top, I would just do this. I would just move the spade to the top and then gather them up. So I remember it. So you say, I remember it is that their suit is an Elmsley count position. You're not going to do an Elmsley count, but it's in that position. Okay, and then it will always work. Did that answer the question, by the way?
Did you say third from the face? Is that the position that we're in?
Yeah, the club in this case is third from the face.
Okay, gotcha.
All right.
So it's an Elmsley count position if you were doing the Elmsley count face up.
Correct.
Okay.
Makes sense? So now, as you gather them up, you get a break under the top card, which is their selection. Get a break under the top card, add it to the aces. So now the situation is this: 4 face-up aces, face-down selection. Okay. So now I do like a little display to seemingly show all 4 aces, but they only see 3. So I say, look, all 4 aces are going to determine what your card is. So I turn over the top card, the top ace, show the back. Thumb off the second ace, show the back. Set it back down as I show the back of the top ace again. And then the top ace goes on the bottom. Now you're set. Okay, so again, in real time, it would look like this. Like all 4 aces, right? So now you're in position to do the Guy Hollingworth optical alignment move. And it looks something like this. So you get a break under the bottom 2 cards. Under the bottom 2, or above the bottom 2 in this case. So you peel off the first ace as you show it to them. The next one's going to be a double. So you're holding 2 as 1 there. Thumb off the next one, and then the last one. Okay, so your selection, their selection's hidden behind this card here. So I'm looking at this. This is what I see. Okay. So now you do the optical alignment move. So you're basically going to use your pinky as a track for the cards to travel across. My middle finger and ring finger are contacting the middle 2 aces. So now in slow motion, you kind of want to do this. You bend the 2 middle fingers back, middle and ring finger. That club is going to align with the heart, goes out of view as the reversed card comes into view. So they still see 4 cards. Okay, I'll try to do that again. Middle finger and ring finger contact the middle 2 aces. They're going to go along, they're going to travel along the little finger. Boom. Okay. So you up jog their selection. And you say, look, the suit of your card reversed itself. Not the spade, not the diamond, not the heart. And at this point, you turn everything over, except for the club, which tells me your card's a club. And they put their hand on that. As they put their hand on it, you're going to cop off the bottom ace, which is the suit. The same suit, you cop it off as you display these. You add it to the bottom, face up to the bottom of the deck. Cut it into the middle using your favorite method. Make the magic happen. 1 card reverses itself in the middle. They think this is their selection. It's actually the ace. And then their selection appears under their hand. And you end clean. Questions, comments, concerns? Everybody happy?
Oh, yeah.
That one's
Yeah.
awesome. Love that one.
Yeah, that's great. I love those moves.
Goody. Yeah, they're kind of knacky, but you know, a little bit of practice you'll get. Nothing too terrible.
So are you typically getting the peak with the little buckle there? Like, is that how you're getting their suit?
Yeah, that's one way I do it. This is another way I do it too. Bend this down a little bit here. So I tell them to touch a card. As they touch one, I up jog it. And I say, I'm just going to give you a little peek. And as I flick the card, I basically bend the bottom end back so I can see what suit it is right just by looking down at it right through here. Right? So I say, I'm just going to give you a little peek. You should be able to see it right through there. Right? And it happens that quick too. So I just going to give you a little peek. And now I have the suit. Right? Or after you hit the top change, place it back into the middle, you say, look, it's lost somewhere in there. And as I say that, I just with my ring finger basically, just push that top card over, and I get the peak of the index right there. That's another way to do it. Or if you're on Zoom, you can just look right into the camera and you got it. Everybody happy so far?
Oh, yeah.
No complaints?
Looking good.
Okay, good. Now, let me set these off to the side for now. How about something with a Richard Turner gold seal deck of cards?
Ooh.
Yeah, any fans of those cards there?
Yeah.
Nice, Chuck.
Luxurious. Here, let me adjust this really quick. Okay. So this one goes all the way back to Royal Road to Card Magic. Have a deck shuffled. Put that box. I don't need that box. Okay. You tell the spectator to slide out any card they want to. In this case, let's say this one. Now, don't show it to anybody, right? You don't look at it. Don't show it to the magician. Don't show it to the spectators. In fact, cover it with the box so nobody can see it. Okay? So, since I can't actually find your card, you have your card. I'm going to place the pack into my pocket. And I'm going to remove Is that right? Yeah, I'm going to. There goes the guard dog.
Sounds like you got a critic.
Okay, so you say you're going to remove. First of all, you're going to try to find the suit of your card. Okay, the suit of their card. So you just reach in from the shuffled pack, by the way, and try to find the suit. So I believe your card is a heart card. Okay. Now to try to find the value. Let's try to find the value here. Or I'm going to try to make up cards that determine what the value is. So we have an 8, And
Somebody mute that dog.
yeah. An 8 and a 1. 8 plus 1 is 9. Yep. So I believe your card is the 9 of hearts. Okay. And for the first time, we take a look, and hopefully we have the 9 of hearts.
Nice.
So this is basically Selective Touch from Royal Road to Card Magic. Anybody familiar with that one? Anybody remember it, played around with it?
Oh, I've read about it. I haven't done it.
Okay. Hopefully you were fooled if you have played around with it.
Oh, it was nice.
Cool. So the method, of course, is binary, right? And you'll probably remember when I tell you. The method is binary: 1, 2, 4, 8. Clubs, hearts, spades, diamonds. And you can basically make any card in a deck of cards out of these 4 cards. Make sense? So this is the original idea from Royal Road. Now, hopefully what fooled you is we're using a marked deck of cards.
Okay.
So I actually lied to you in the very beginning. This is not a gold seal Richard Turner deck of cards. This is actually a Boris Wilde marked deck. And I put them inside a Richard Turner box to throw you off a little bit more. Hopefully it worked. So that's the basic idea. 1, 2, 4, 8. Those start out in the pocket. Okay. They shuffle the cards. You say take one out. You read the mark. In this case, we have, what do we have here? 10 of hearts? Yeah. So in the original version, you would say that you would have them pick out a card and turn it face up. That way everybody could see it. But if everything's down, face down the entire time, I think it adds a little bit more layer to it that way. So we'll use a different one. I was a little too close to the first one. So I'm looking at the 5 of diamonds. Okay, 5 of diamonds. We'll leave it face up in this case. So you place the rest of the pack into the pocket. And I'll keep them out of the pocket for explanation purposes. And then those 4 cards go right on top inside the pocket. So you say, first of all, you're going to find the suit of their card. So you thumb through clubs, hearts, spades, diamonds. They're in chased order. And you remove the diamond. And you say, I believe this matches the suit of your card. Okay. And now, how can we make up a 5 from what we have left? And in some cases, you'll have to add it to 8. How would we make up 5 in this case?
Ace 4.
Very good. So reach in, remove the ace, and the flip through to the 4, remove the 4. So in this case, we have the 5 of diamonds. And for the first time, we turn it over and it matches their card. Boom. Wow.
Looks good.
Nice.
Yay, Brian.
Wonderful.
Hey, can you show
Yay,
how you do
Brian.
it with court cards? Hey, Sean,
Yes.
can you show how you would do that count if there were a court card that they picked, like a queen or a king?
Yeah. Good point. So you got 1, 2, 4, 8. Clubs, hearts, spades, diamonds. You want to use a jack? Let's say they pick a jack. Equivalent to 11, right? And so let's say they chose a diamond, so you remove the diamond. And in this case, you would have to include the 8. the suit card. So I believe your card's a diamond. Let's see what else. Let's see what else we can make up here. So you reach in, you're going to grab the deuce, the 2, and the ace, and that gives you 11, right? So in that case, you would have to add you would have to include the suit card to that. Make sense?
Yeah.
Or if they pick a king, which is equivalent to 13, right? 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, ace 4 and 8. Or the queen, which equals 12, right? And that's based on Selective Touch, Royal Road to Card Magic. Check it out.
How'd you end up stumbling across that one in Royal Road and just like gravitating towards it?
Yeah, I don't know. I may have been reading something in Genie magazine that kind of gave me the idea of the binary. And then I use Dennis Baer's website a lot, Conjuring Archive. I basically use that daily. And you know, I was typing to the search bar binary, and every trick that used the binary method would be listed. So I just go through, and the one in Royal Road sounded cool to me. So I started playing around with it. So add layers in this case. Sorry, I lied to you.
Yeah.
Okay, now, what time is it? How are we looking on time?
Good.
For you, we have as much time. We have all the time in the world.
Sweet. Okay, here's another one. Based off an old idea. We'll switch to the J-Nugs. All right. Pretty well mixed. All right. Now, since we're across Zoom, we can't actually have a card selected and then put back into the middle of the deck. So let's see. Chuck, go ahead and unmute, please.
Okay.
Do you have a favorite card in the deck? Like a lucky.
I do.
Tell everybody what it is.
The 9 of hearts.
No kidding. You don't prefer the 5 of spades?
Nope, nope.
You like the 9 of hearts?
I do like the 9 of hearts.
Fine. We'll try to work with the 9 of hearts here. And of course, to make it a little bit more difficult, I'll try to find your card while not only is the deck in the box, but I'll try to find your card while the deck is wrapped in the handkerchief. Okay. You said 9 of hearts, right?
Yep.
Now keep in mind, you didn't take it out of the deck, you didn't put it back in. There was no way for me to control it, basically, right? But with a little imagination, a little magic, from the middle of the deck, through the box, through the handkerchief, we have one card only. Just happens to be your thought of 9 of hearts.
Very nice.
Nothing up the sleeves.
Nicely done.
Thank you. So this is basically Martin Gardner's card through handkerchief, which can be found in Tarbell number 5, if anybody's interested. So I believe in this case, by not having a card taken out and put back in, it kind of gives, in this routine, it basically gives the idea that the cards have always been in the box and were never taken out. That's my belief anyway. So of course, with this, we're using a memorized deck. Okay, memorized deck. So you basically do an estimated cut to get their card to the top of the deck. Let's say they pick the King of Diamonds, right? And you say, look, they're well mixed, all different, blah, blah, blah. They named the King of Diamonds. So in this case, you don't prefer the Two of Clubs. Darn, you want the King of Diamonds. Okay, now I already have the King of Diamonds on top of the deck. That's where you want it. Control it to the top. So now when the deck goes back into the box, you kind of bevel it slightly. See if we can see this right. Bevel the card slightly so that when you put the flap on, the flap in, when you tuck the flap in there, their selection is just on the outside of the flap. Can we see that there? You close it up. So now you can handle it freely, show all sides. No palms, by the way. It's a no palm card through handkerchief, which is nice. So now when you wrap the handkerchief around it, you're going to hold the box in this position. So your thumb's on the half moon on the back. Okay, thumb's on the half moon there. And you hold it up toward yourself as you put the handkerchief around it. And as the handkerchief goes around it with your thumb, you slide it out of the box. Sliding it out of the box. Putting it flush with the card case there. And then you do the standard wrapping of the handkerchief. All right. So let me get situated again. Put it over here. Leave enough draped down over the front so you can do the move here. Boom. Wrap both sides. So of course it's just being held right there. A little shake. Their thought of card from the middle of the deck through the box, through the handkerchief is their card. And you walk away clean. Questions, comments, complaints?
Which Tarbell volume is it in?
Number 5.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Can you give a little advice on like what you do as far as byplay goes as you're searching for as you're estimating during the cuts? You know, what do you kind of, what's your go-to pattern, I guess, you know?
Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. So in this case, I'm using a mnemonic. The Juan Tamariz stack, 1 through 52, 4 of clubs, 9 of diamonds. Okay. So name a card.
Let's do the 6 of hearts.
Okay. So I know that's 23 cards down. All right. So I'm either going to riffle down about 23 cards, or in this case, about half, give or take a few. Doesn't have to be exact at this point. So I'm riffling down about 23 cards, and I say, "Oh, you said the 6 of hearts," and I'm literally looking at the card I cut to, and it isn't always going to be that one. So I say, "Oh, you wanted the 6 of hearts. You don't prefer the 8 of spades, right?" So here I'm determining what I have to do in this point. So actually, I cut pretty good. So this is 22. 23 is literally right here. So that should be the 6 of hearts. Okay. So let's say I cut a little too few. So I'd be like, "Oh, you want the 6 of hearts? You don't prefer the Jack of hearts?" Oh, the Jack of hearts is a really good card. right? And at this point, do an estimated cut, shift where you need to shift. I get my peak just to be sure, and I'm right there.
It's a very open way of going about it. I like it. I've never seen that before. Just like, to check where you're at. I like it.
Yeah, it works.
Nice.
Does that make sense? Does that answer your question?
Totally. Thank you. That's awesome.
Yeah, no problem. All right. Now, I want to have a discussion with all of you.
A discussion, you said?
Yes, with all of you. Actually, I'm going to perform an effect. I'm not gonna
Tip it.
right, because it's a marketed effect, but I mainly want to talk about the effect, not the method, the effect. Does that make sense? So let me get my handy dandy notes out here first. And this is actually a coin trick. Give my cards a rest for a moment here. Okay. So use a couple of coins in this case, a few coins. Got one more here. Okay. Spotlight myself. So in this case, we have two $50, two 50-cent pieces, a quarter, and a dime. Okay, anybody good at math? How much change is that? So we got
85.
50 plus 20
$1.35.
plus 10. Say what?
$1.30.
85.
85.
Hey, you're jumping ahead.
$1.35.
You've seen this one before. Okay, good. That's right. $1.35. Okay. So very cleanly, sleeves rolled up. No thumb tips, whatever those are. All right. 50 cents goes into the palm. Okay. Plus 25 goes into the palm. Plus 10 into the palm. All right, very fair. Plus 50, that equals $1.35, right? Now, here comes the hard part. If I remove 50 cents, that leaves me with how many in the hand?
None.
That's exactly right. Absolutely nothing.
Stunned silence.
Bingo. So of course, this is the $1.35 trick. I'm sure all of you have it stuffed away in your magic drawer somewhere. It's on the market. You can buy it at your local magic shop. But the effect is what I want to talk about. Okay. How many of you have seen the movie The Prestige?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Great movie. Great movie. In the movie The Prestige, they talk about this. They say every magic trick consists of 3 parts or acts. Okay, 3. The first part is the pledge, right? That is where the magician shows you something ordinary, such as a deck of cards, a coin, a dove, whatever. The second act is called the turn. Okay, that is where the magician takes the ordinary something and makes it do something extraordinary, such as disappear in this case. And the third act is the prestige, and that is where you have to bring it back. Okay? My question is, do you have to bring it back? All right. So lately, let me read you this, a little quote from Carl Fulvis. Because the past couple of years, I've been fascinated with unresolved vanishes. Right? That's where you make something vanish and you don't bring it back ever. Okay, and this is what Carl Fulvis talks about in his Impromptu Holdouts from 1977. He says, do not make the mistake of producing the chosen card at some later time. Leave it in the pocket. I know that the argument of symmetry dictates that an object made to vanish should subsequently be made to appear. But that only applies to magic tricks, and this is not a magic trick. It is somewhere between spiritualism and demonology, and is most effective when presented as such. It has never been decreed that all effects must have a happy ending. It is true that unresolved vanish is one of the strongest effects. So first, it continues to linger method-wise. The vanished object must still be somewhere according to common sense, so where is it? The unsettling qualities of a disappearance can also be explained by its subtext. It subconsciously symbolizes death. So what are your thoughts? Is the prestige wrong? Or do you have to bring it back? Should you bring it back each and every time? What do you guys think? Unmute
I
yourself.
don't think you have to. I think you bring it back if that's the narrative of the story you're trying to tell, but otherwise, no. No reason to. If you don't have, if you don't want to.
Do you think it can be more impressive that way?
Potentially. I mean, I think, like, for example, if you're doing like a bill in orange, obviously you're going to vanish. You borrowed somebody's money, you're going to vanish it and you're going to give it back to them. So I think, like, in that case, you probably don't want their bill to just disappear forever. But like, no, I mean, if it's some other, if it's something that people don't really have an emotional attachment to, I don't know, you probably want to make sure the animal's okay if you're doing a trick with an animal. But I don't know, if it's something that somebody doesn't have an emotional attachment to, I think it's probably perfectly fine to vanish it unresolved.
Good point.
In psychology, what you've done is you've created what is called cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance. When something happens and then you repair it or reappear it or whatever, there's a flow to that. But when you create something that leaves something just hanging, you create cognitive dissonance, and there's nothing wrong with that. You'll see a lot of examples, in life of cognitive dissonance, and it doesn't have to be unentertaining or resolved.
I like it. Good stuff.
When I originally saw David Copperfield perform the illusion at the end of his show that he called 13, and he would have 13 members of the audience go up on stage, covered around with a cloth, of course, and then they disappear. When I saw it originally, he didn't bring them back. The audience was left in stunned silence, and someone came in from off stage after at least 30 seconds and maybe a minute saying, "What are you looking at? They're gone. They're not coming back." And that was the end of the show. And it was just astounding. Of course, people met their family members outside the theater. But to your point, it was an extremely effective method to not bring them back.
Right.
Another perfect example of that is whenever you see a big magician act, like disappearing the Statue of Liberty or something to that effect, they usually never ever bring it back.
The Park Service would approve.
Well, let me put it this way, not at that particular moment.
In your $1.35 trick, are you suggesting the coins are disappearing?
I would say so.
Why wouldn't you make the assumption that they were transformed.
Into what?
$50.
Nah,
Why not?
because you already have a half. You start out with two halves, right?
Blending it into one.
Confusing.
Well, I feel like if you don't explicitly say, you know, it's the magic is technically where it happens is in the mind of the spectator anyway. So if you don't,
It
tell them.
definitely is in the mind of the spectator. I'd be curious what Douglas Clark has to say.
It could be presented that way. It could be presented that they are morphed.
Right.
together.
Well,
Sure.
That also puts more.
many years ago,
Oh,
many
go ahead.
years ago, I did an illusion show with at Six Flags with a person that I got from the audience, and I put him in a double tip over trunk, and I turned him into a duck, and then I made him vanish. And at the end of the show, people said, "Oh, we were looking for Frank," and then we did the duck bucket and produced it. And of course, it came out, and somebody, you know, we made sure people said, you know, wait a minute, the duck's here. What happened? You know, what are you going to do with Frank? And I say, you know, we'll take care of that later. You guys have a fun time at Six Flags over Mid-America. And on behalf of Frank, High C, and the friends at Six Flags, you have a great time. I'm going to work on taking care of Frank. And we'd walk off stage. That's how we ended the show. And if people wanted pictures or stuff, we would get it afterwards. But I actually would get complaints letters to the park, which the park thought was astounding and amazing, that people said, you know, we enjoyed the magic show, but are you aware that he turned an audience member into a duck and didn't bring him back? Whether you want to say they believed it or they were having fun, there are some people that have an uncomfortability with that
Yeah.
they don't appreciate an unfinished bit. And
Right.
one of the strongest things I think from a magician is when they do something and it doesn't have a logical explanation. We just think of it as fun, but
Mhm.
it upsets some people's equilibrium to the point where it bothers them.
Yeah. Well, I think that if that's what you're after, that's a totally valid thing to do. Randy, you remember you and I went to see Cabaret at the Fox together. You remember the ending of that play?
Oh yeah.
When they because like there was no big like curtain call musical number. It was just like the Nazis invaded and shut the place down, and then you're just like, all right, time to go. And it's like, wow, makes you feel in some kind of way, you know?
Well, you bring that up, Phantom of the Opera, the ending of it, the whole thing is about him, you know, his love for Christine Daae and teaching her to sing. And at the very end, he releases her for her original love of her life. And he gets inside his lair, and then they're coming after him. And he says, leave. And he says, if you won't leave me, I'll leave you. And he covers himself in a big sheet. And they approach him and they grab the sheets, and it's a Dakota chair, and he's gone. And all that's left is a small music box that he left there, which he left for Christine Daae. And he's gone, and that's how the show ends.
And the mask.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, the only thing I had to say about this, you can't make everybody happy. Even if the whole audience stands and cheers, there's going to be someone in there which is not going to be happy with it. It's simply not going to happen. No matter what trick you do, some's going to like, some's going to not like. You're going to get complaints, and you may not even hear about them.
Yeah, when David Copperfield got rid of the Statue of Liberty, he said, but I know this would bother many people, so let me bring it back and bring our life back to normal. And then he proceeds to bring it back. I mean, obviously, the question is, you know, did he make it disappear in people's minds and stuff, and people can say what they want? But there definitely is an uncomfortableness, stuff like that happens. I think magicians have toyed with that for years, and I think it's very entertaining. And Josh Wagner said, you know, I think sometimes it's fun, but it changes from magic. I think Shaun just mentioned, or you read something demonic or something. When something doesn't have a good explanation, that crosses from entertainment to bothersome to some people,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think that like it's definitely a thing you should be thinking about with your magic, because it could be a thing that like it's okay to do it if you're doing it intentionally, but you might be unintentionally doing it, and that's you might be not giving them the experience you are planning to give them.
Mr. Douglas Clark is probably the most well-read person on magic and stuff in here besides Mr. Shaun. I'm curious his thoughts, if he'd have anything to share. And if Nick Cinnamon is here, I'd be curious of his.
Well, just listening to the discussion, I think that the emotional investment people put into the object that disappears and doesn't return is, I think, a contributing factor. So I think if you are, as Copperfield did, and Randy, as you did in your Six Flags show, where you actually disappear a person and don't bring them back, I think that's going to provoke a much stronger reaction than where Shaun essentially vanished 85 cents. Because we might have some emotional investment in that, but when you're
maybe if it was for 85 cents,
then there's much more emotional investment. So I think that that's a level. And I think, this cognitive dissonance, I think that if your show and the effect that you're doing is set up to do that, I think it's perfectly fine. I mean, that unresolved issue, why do we always have to have a conclusion? Well, there are going to be people that complain. I mean, I remember the furor that came about when The Sopranos ended on a blackout. And that was the end of the series. A lot of people were unhappy about that. But, you can read a lot of books where they don't necessarily resolve all the issues in the books. I mean, that is allowing people's imagination to arrive at some kind of solution, and people come to different conclusions based on the same set of sort of information. So I don't see anything wrong with it. I think it needs to be justified in terms of the setup you're doing, but whether you bring back the 85 cents or not, or whether I think probably it ends up arguing more that you're sort of bringing back the person that you're vanishing, or at least there is the realization that person hasn't vanished for all time, kind of thing. I mean, sometime after the show, they're going to see them again, like with the Copperfield thing. They'll go outside and they'll meet all the people that were vanished. There is that resolution. If you then decide to vanish the person and they don't see them again for a week, I think we got issues.
No, I agree. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think it definitely changes. It's just like the 1 to 100 trick. You do that with a $5 bill. That's kind of fun. You do it with a 10 or 20. It's kind of interesting.
Right.
It's very fascinating. People never seem to be more amazed than when you change a series of ones into 100s.
Yeah, but I think that's kind of that's because most people don't see $100 bills on any kind of regular basis.
Well, I think that's, many people take it for granted. But if you take 5 bills and all of a sudden turn it into $500,
yeah,
that could be 1, 2, 3 weeks paid for some people.
Oh yeah.
They're like, what the hell did you just do? And since they don't know, the back of their head, they're saying, I don't know what he did, but I want it.
I want those $500.
And most effects And versions of that tell you that if you're doing that with 100s, make sure you have enough distance so that somebody doesn't grab them and run.
Yeah, exactly.
Mr. Steve Zilke, you have comments?
Yes, he does.
But he's keeping them to himself.
We're all sitting on the edge of our chair waiting to hear from Steve.
Unmute, Steve. There you go.
I'm trying to. No, I kind of agree with Shaun. I mean, a person obviously is a little different, but coins and cards and thimbles and rings and things like that, I don't. In fact, if you were really a true magician, you would not bring it back. Poof, you're gone. That's just poof, you're gone. It's gone. Yeah, so I totally agree. And by the way, dude, very cool lecture. Very cool.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
As for me, I've never really thought about if I should bring it back or not. I just do the trick and that's it.
Nothing wrong with that.
So Shaun, you read you read from like an excerpt from The Prestige. What are your thoughts on it?
I think it's a great movie. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. I mean, I go back and watch it, here and there. I just watched it maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago again for like the 6th time. And each time I watch it, I discover something new about it that I didn't realize before.
Yeah, it's really good. Have you read the book yet?
No.
Oh, it's I got it like an audio book. I was listening to it on a commute back, when that was a thing that we had to do. Yeah, it was really cool. It's a totally different story. Like, it's not like a book adaptation to a movie, how there's always a little difference. Like, it's a completely different story. Like, it doesn't even, part of the book doesn't even take place in the it like takes place in like the 1980s or something like that. So it's like, it's like 100-year, it takes place over 2 different time periods instead of 1. So it's very very interesting.
Nice.
Yeah.
Gosh, you remember the 80s?
No, I lived there for about 5 months.
About the 1880s.
No, the only way I get to see those is in a DeLorean time machine.
As George Corman says, yeah, I remember the 80s, but that's about it.
That's pretty funny. Well, it's something to think about. Unresolved vanishes. You don't always have to bring it back every time. This is something that the past 2 years I've been closing my show with this trick. So it's like,
And just leaving people hanging.
Yeah, just leave them hanging. Coins are gone. See ya.
And then you say, if you want to find out what happened, you got to bring me back.
There you go. Brilliant.
It's all a promo.
Yeah.
Better yet, and if you want to see the rest of the trick, come back next week.
Yeah.
It'll only cost you 85 cents.
So Shaun, where do you think Derek DelGaudio's like brick vanish fits in there? Like totally gone from the show, but transported somewhere else. And it's, only up to you if you want to go searching for it. Because he explains where it's heading before it's gone.
Right.
And that's why, when we're discussing all this, it's like, that's what I'm thinking about. It's like, I think it just comes down to context, like the context of the trick. Because like, if the trick there was just vanishing the brick, so what? But I think there's so much more weight behind it, given the the context of what the brick personifies and all that stuff. So
Yeah, there's a whole story behind it now.
right.
Yeah. And I think when people go searching for it, if they do, I think the show is still going on at that point. I don't think the show ended when he said goodnight and exited stage left or whatever. I think the show is still going on at that point.
For sure.
Mhm.
Unless it's someone like you that goes searching for it and it's not there. Then it's a complete vanish. So
Unresolved.
unresolved.
Yeah.
That's true.
Well, yeah, but like if you give somebody a souvenir of any kind from the show that's like an impossible object, that's another example of the show continuing long after you've said goodnight and everybody went home. So, I mean, I don't know if I guess one of the things, I know Morgan and West do a thing where they take somebody's signed card and it goes inside of a jar that's too big for the deck is too big to go inside it. So they can see like their card is in there in the jar, and they have to break the jar to get it open and get it out. So that's pretty neat.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Good stuff.
So Shaun, what's the magic scene like up there in Kansas City area?
It's going pretty strong, actually. We've been having Zoom meetings every month, but still pretty good turnout online and stuff, and having online lectures, and it's going strong.
Good.
Yeah, I think our IBM has well over 100 members, and they're very active.
Yeah, they've always been pretty strong up there.
Yeah, the SAM participates in the Fringe Festival every year and doing lots of stuff. Thank
You
goodness.
guys have any magic shops up that way?
Well, we got US Toy.
Okay.
They claim that is the largest magic shop in the world. That's what he says.
Yeah.
But it's pretty good. They got a good selection of stuff, and they just relocated to a new location. Pretty nice. The Magic Supply Company, he just closed his brick and mortar shop, but he does all this business all online now.
Nice to hear that.
Yeah. So check out magicsupplycompany.com, I believe is his website.
All right.
Other than that, what else is there? Well, speaking of stuff for sale, I got some deck of cards for sale if you want to see those.
Yeah, let's see them.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's check it out.
Since this was a pretty card heavy lecture, we're going to sell some decks. Let me go ahead and unplug this, switch this around.
Hey, Shaun, I got a question for you about US Toy.
Yeah.
I hear rumors from one of our magic buddies, and Steve Suzuki will get a kick out of this, but he has convinced us that there's some very rare books at fractions of the price there.
That is true.
Is it really?
Yes.
Totally true.
Yeah, he doesn't realize what he has there.
Is Philip still in charge?
He sure is.
Yes.
Well, that would explain it.
I've gotten some great stuff there. Jesse was there just a couple weeks ago.
They have a crazy book selection there. I was kind of blown away when I went in there.
They have one. Most lecturers that go there say they're just shocked at the selection of stuff.
Well, Steve Davis had mentioned, that he may have a $100 book priced at $20. Is that true?
That's about right.
Oh my
That could happen, but they do go through and do inventory, and I have seen some of the books there go up in price too. They don't necessarily stay at the price they're at.
But they don't have like an online presence, do they, Doug?
They had a website. I have to admit I haven't looked at it, but I don't know that the website had all the available books. Basically, they have like a folder that has like the list of titles that they supposedly have. Now, if you find something in that list that doesn't guarantee that they're going to be able to actually find the book. So quite honestly, when I go there, they usually let me go behind the counters and look at the shelves. So
Yeah, same here. When I haven't seen Shaun for a while, but when I go down there, I mean, I just sit there and I'm just mesmerized because Phil says the same thing. Just go ahead, Randy, go behind the stuff. And I just go book to book and it's like, holy crap. And I found books that I've looked for years and haven't been able to find.
yeah, I actually, I on one of the like news digests on the internet some years ago, there was a guy that was in the military who was in, I think he was in Iraq or Afghanistan, and he was looking for a particular book, and I had seen it sitting on the shelf at US Toys, so I emailed him and gave him the phone number and everything, and he actually did buy it and had it shipped there to where he was stationed. So
Wow.
And I'm not sure if you're aware, but Shaun probably has, I don't know, I could be exaggerating. Do you have like 5,000 decks, Mr. Shaun?
Yeah, give or take a few.
Is that anything like 1 billion books?
Yeah.
No, if you noticed when he was moving the camera around on the sides, there was some trim on his house. That's not trim. That's all deck. It goes around his whole freaking house.
Randy, remind me to tell you about the 1 billion book story. You'll get a kick out of it.
I'll give you a mini tour here really quick.
Great. I can't wait to see it.
So I got this table here. It is literally a card table.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
7 decks.
Yeah. So you got, got the Fourniers, you got the Fontaines, I got Magic Castle decks, Dan and Dave's Cardistry Con decks, a little bit of everything there. Some of my favorite ones. And then over here on this table, got a few, just no special order, just all stacked up.
A few bicycles.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's all decked out.
That's right. Got some mandolin decks here, tally hose.
Got your puzzle box. I love it.
Yeah. These are the newest ones I got. These are pretty cool here. The Screams at Midnight. Penguin sells these, Penguin Magic. They're marked on the back. These are pretty cool. Tannins, the Tannins deck. This comes with gimmicked cards, so you can do the old Skinner Monty routine.
Did that with the Mispip 3 and the 2 and the 3 and the ace.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
And then got your brick of the new J Nugs, which just came out a couple years ago. Original J Nugs. The mystery box from Theory 11. And then over here, lined up along the wall, more decks.
Wow.
And they're actually doubled up there. Like there's 2 rows. You can see that.
Wow.
You got a problem there. You just haven't got enough cards.
I was just
Never
gonna
enough.
say, Shaun, explain yourself.
It's a sickness.
Okay, all right.
And they are sorted by color too, by the way. So you got blue, you got red, black, purple, yellow, orange, gray.
Obviously, you're a collector. Do you always buy an extra one so you can open them up and see what they look like and play with them? And
I sure do.
okay,
Yep. So I always buy 2 of each. So I keep one sealed, and then I open up the other one to play around with.
That's
Yeah.
like me, when I went to the Magic Castle, I got 2 Magic Castle coins. One of them I sent into NGC to be graded, and it's in an enclosed case. It will never come out of it.
Yeah.
Well, Sean, what is? I mean, not just you, but in general, do you have an explanation for the fascination with playing cards over the last, 5, 6, 7, 8 years? I mean, seems every company, every designer, every artist, every magic company is coming out with their own brand, their own version, and it seems like they're coming out like weekly.
Yeah.
I mean, is there a reason for it, or
Because
Uh,
people
your
buy 'em.
opinion?
Yeah, people just buy them up for whatever reason. I don't know. I mean, they like, there's different finishes, there's different types of brands. There's there's different manufacturers that there are some card collectors that can tell you just by smelling the deck where it was manufactured.
And now that's a little weird.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, but with me, I don't know what my fascination. I mean, I tend to specialize in sleight of hand with card magic, but I think back in the day I was hanging out at Gibbles and Bob Cole, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I was talking to Bob Cole one day, and he was like, "So how many decks of cards do you own?" Because we were looking at all the gimmicked cards in the case, or all the gimmick decks like Svengali deck, Stripper deck, Cheek to Cheek, and all those. He was like, "How many decks of cards do you have?" And I was like, "I don't know, maybe 6 or 8."
Mhm.
And Bob goes, "Well, you're a piker." At the time, I had no idea what a piker was.
Yeah.
I knew that I needed more decks of cards. So at that point, I just started gobbling them up.
All right, let's get to the commercial. Sean, what are you selling?
Okay, sounds good to me. So here's what we have. We got the $5 decks of cards here. So the cards in these rows here, these rows are all $5. So these cards here, these are Svengali decks. Okay, so you got red and blue bicycle back Svengali decks. And these here are all stripper decks. Red, blue bicycle stripper decks. Okay. Along in the $5 also here, we got red and blue Richard Turner gold seal decks. These are actually Richard Turner decks, not Boris Wild Martin decks. Still sealed, by the way, still sealed. Miller Lite cards, bicycle cyclists, different colored bicycles here. These cards here, based on I haven't opened them up yet, but based on the description on the back, it sounds like they're stripper cards, stripper decks. But the interesting thing is they were manufactured right here in Kansas City, Grandview, Missouri, not too far away. These aviator cards, these are Blue Seal aviator cards. Can't get those anymore. The Blue Seals anyway. Mavericks, you got double backed cards, blank face cards, double backers, Arco bikes, the Masters Edition bikes, pink bikes, and a black bicycle deck. Then you got the $10 row. These are Blue Seals, Blue Seal limited edition series bicycles. You got the woman cards. I haven't cracked these open yet, but these looks like these are going for like $20 online. These are pretty cool here. The Apex beveled one-way marked cards. If you're into that kind of thing. Edgework, Animal Kingdom, David Blaine, Black Lions. We got 3 of those. Blue Seal B cards. The Tactical Field Bikes, Blue Seal. And the blue knock cards. I think these are the summer version, summer 2016 version or something like that. Then you got the $20 decks. These are red circleback tally hose, blue seal, which is rare. So $20 each on those. You got the fan back, circle back, and then of course the blue circle back here, blue seals. And then you got the Virtuoso Spring Summer 2016 cardistry decks, $20 each there. So that's the idea there. I guess, I accept everything, PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, Apple Pay. I don't, what do you guys think is the best way to do it? You want to send me an email, or do you want to
Bitcoin.
or do you want to type in the chat? How do you guys want to do that? This here, we didn't go over this, but
most of them just put it in the chat, and that way people can simply save the chat and have the information.
Have you guys seen these? Do you have these?
Are those plungers?
Yeah.
Could those be used as plungers? Okay.
Yeah. So if you do, the John Armstrong tiny plunger routine, and you don't want to use something that you grabbed from the bathroom, you can use one of these things here. Little toy plungers, $1 a piece. There you have it, and there you are. What do you think?
Nice.
And your email address?
Shaun.Rivera@gmail.com. SHAUN .RIVERA.
Are you selling your
In the chat.
Say what now?
Put your contact information in the chat,
Oh, okay, I'll do that.
Say please.
please. Por favor.
Did you want to continue selling your lecture notes, Mr. Shaun?
Oh yeah, thanks for the reminder. Yeah, so you might remember back in the day, like 12 years ago, I did my torn and restored lecture. Randy has a set of notes there on display. I have a few of those left if you're interested. Those are $20 shipped. Yeah, go ahead and flip through them again, Randy. You can see there it's double spaced, so you can take notes in between if you're into that kind of thing. Print on good quality paper. It's got the whole history of the one piece at a time torn and restored card, and like 6 different
pictures. It's got multiple versions, details, and you got permission from all the creators to allow them to do this. It's a great set of notes.
Yeah, it's basically like a compilation of a few different, the more popular versions out there. Not all of them are explained, but they are described and discussed and all that stuff.
I didn't know if you were also interested in selling your Rivera's Ranch.
Oh,
you remember that?
I do remember that.
I bet some people would be interested because
really
it had some stuff, but I don't know if you'd be even to have those anymore because it's got the details of flying for David Copperfield.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Shaun did research. Not only did he had his commentary about some things, but he got the patent and all the details for the flying routine.
Wow.
I don't
Forgot
even
about
have
that.
those anymore. But I could always give you a copy, Shaun.
Okay, there's my
But
contact.
yeah, but here is his lecture notes again, if you can see. It's got pictures of the people that he did them from, and it's got stories, it's got the moves and all the details. And I'm sure if you needed assistance, Shaun would happy to work with you on a one-on-one if you bought the notes and make recommendations to you.
Sure.
But he did a really good job with the notes, and it was in a little binder, and mine happens to be autographed. And but it's a great it's a great resource with all the compilations for torn and restored cards. So. And he's got some great versions. So a lot of people try to find where to get that stuff. He did all the research, did all the typing, got all the works, got all the permissions. And I don't think there's too many places you can get something like that. I mean, can you think of anybody that has multiple versions of it except for Shaun?
You're a good salesman, man.
There you go. Hey, Shaun, I'll take those 2 decks of those knock cards you had, those $5 knock cards. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Put those aside. I'm going to drop you an email with a couple other things on there that I want.
Okay, sounds good. Let me just double check, make sure here. Let me flip this around.
I sent you what I want through Venmo. In the description, if that works.
Oh, okay, sure.
Cool.
Let's see here. Jay Gordon, right?
Yes.
Okay, Steve, you wanted the blue.
Yeah, they were he had 2 decks left on the end there, right in the middle row.
These?
There you go.
Those are yours.
All right, thanks, buddy.
Thank you.
Oh, that's much better.
John, is your PayPal address your contact info?
Oh no, the PayPal is RIV-magic@msn.com. I'll type that into the chat too. Let's see.
Sent my order in, Shaun, to your email.
Awesome. Type this in PayPal. RIV-magic@msn.com. Okay,
Hey,
cool.
boys and girls, I'm going to say goodbye.
Thanks, Chuck.
Great job, Shaun. Really enjoyed it.
Thank you. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye for now.
Night.
Yeah, thanks for hanging out, peeps. Hopefully you got something out of it.
Yeah, very
awesome.
cool.
Definitely.
Great lecture, buddy.
Thanks.
Still there, Shaun?
Yeah, what's up?
Nothing. Great job. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Really a lot of fun. I'm glad we had a lot of folks show up. Hope you guys had a good time.
Yeah.
I told you before we started, I was going to let you know about another lecture next month if I could get a hold of him. And I was able to. So we are going to do a lecture with Louis Fox on April 8th. And we are also going to do a lecture with Buster Balloon Caldwell. Maybe some of you have heard him, maybe not of him, maybe not, but he is going to be doing a lecture on April 22nd. So we're going to have lectures on the 8th and the 22nd next month. Louis is a kind of all-around guy. He does a lot of fairs and festivals. He's been on TV lots of times, and he just does all kinds of cool stuff. I will make sure and post links tomorrow to both of their websites. And Buster Balloon is probably the best known balloon person in the country, but he also is an amazing magician. So he's going to be doing a magic lecture, which he hasn't done much of ever. But he's putting on a convention in June. So he's going to kind of be doing sort of a trial free lecture for us on the 22nd. So those should both be a lot of fun. But I will post links to both of them tomorrow. And that's about it. So hopefully you all will show up. It's going to be great.
Don't forget Craig Petty next April from England.
Yep. What day is that on? Is that the first? Is that the 7th?
It sounds right. First Wednesday.
Yep. So you've got Shaun,
That guy has a trip. So I'm
Craig
looking
Petty
forward.
on the 7th, and then Louis Fox on the 8th. That'll be really two great days of lectures. So it's gonna be cool.
And there you have it. Derek Daniels, can you hear us? I guess not. I just noticed Mr. Steve Bolin and Dr. Steer are both here. You guys never come around.
Well, Steve lives around here now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Zoom. Don't we all live around here now?
Yeah, isn't that the truth?
Don't you live in Kirkwood now, Steve?
Hey, Warson Woods.
Yeah.
Yep. Left that bad state.
Good for you. Is that the same place where I picked you up that one time? Or is it different?
No, that was Kirkwood.
Oh, Warson Woods is up by the airport.
No, it's how do I say? We're
right next to Kirkwood.
Yeah. Manchester and Woodlawn.
A question for the two Steves. Do you both plan on going to Magi Fest this year?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And you,
rain,
Jesse,
snow,
going,
sleet.
Randy, Josh, myself, Busking, Chad. Are you going, Chad?
I don't think so. When is it? When is it going to be?
Like
September.
mid-September now.
September?
Yeah.
September 16th.
I don't know.
I've got too much traveling to do in September. I can't, there's no way I can swing 2 trips.
You going, Doug?
I am.
Cool. But Jesse and I are planning. Trying to convince Mr. Shaun.
Well, hopefully
looking
it comes
forward to
off
it.
without a hitch. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like 16th to the 18th right now of September. Ooh, they have online access.
Well, I think they're limiting actual attendees to like 200, I think.
Okay.
And then the rest of it will be virtual. I mean, everybody else will be virtual.
Yeah.
They said they might open that up if things got better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they'll probably have to make that decision probably by late July, early August, if they're going to do that,
Yeah.
just because of logistics.
I don't know if Busking's talking to himself or talking to us, but we can't hear him.
Sorry about that. Just wanted to thank Shaun for the evening.
Yep.
Thank you, guys. You're awesome.
Thank you, Shaun.
All right.
I sent you the PayPal payment for a set of lecture notes. So
Got it. Thank you very much.
I sent
it
mine
should
via
have
Venmo.
it should have my address on there, I think.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
I'm going to say goodnight to everybody. Shaun, thanks a lot, and I'll have an email to you tomorrow with some things on there for you.
Sounds good. Thank
All right,
you.
buddy. Take care. Good job.
Thanks.
John, do you need shipping added on as well for those things?
Yeah, for the decks. How about $5? I don't know.
All right.
Do you need shipping for the lecture notes?
No, the $20, $20 bill. That includes the shipping.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Shaun,
Yes.
I was on the internet looking around for that toy store. I found one in Oakland Park. Is that the one, or is there a different one? Because I'm going to be up in KC next week.
Yeah, so yeah, US Toy is in Overland Park now. That's their new location.
Oh, okay. It looks like I got it pulled up on the internet. It looks like a fair sized store. I went to the magic part. It didn't look like it looked like they mainly had like kids magic.
Yeah, they got a little bit of everything. They got, gimmicks. They got, the stage props. They got a ton of books, a lot of books that are out of print. But basically, the whole US Toy store, it's like a big toy store, kind of like
Yeah,
toy-
I mean the whole name is U.S. Toys and Creative Playthings. So
Yeah, I got it brung up here on the internet.
yeah, there's a lot of educational type toys in that, and then they've got and I haven't looked for it in the new store because I'm usually just going to the magic spot. But they used to have a region in the toy store that was just like carnival stuff.
Oh, okay. Because I sort of come from a Carney background. To be exact, I got my start selling Spengali decks at the carnival. So, and that's when Foxwood used to be the only one which made the Spengali deck. I got 2 or 3 of those left over from my old Carney days.
I will say, Douglas Clark didn't mention it, but he has an amazing collection of things that are signed. So I'm sure he would want you to sign those notes.
I put that in the PayPal thing.
Oh, okay.
Okay, good. Yeah, no problem.
I did put that in the note that I attached to it. Yeah, I have 1 or 2 things signed.
I think 6. I've counted them.
Oh, okay. Well, no, Sean's actually been in my apartment.
Oh, I'm jealous.
And has seen the book collection.
If people don't know, he's probably got like 20,000 books.
Well, that's not just magic. I have over 20,000 books, but magic is about 2,700 books.
Top me. I've got about 1,000.
And I've got books on magic books on order that I'm waiting to come out. The new Larry Jennings book, the new John Carney book, and
Yeah, we should get those any day now.
well, we'll see when the Jennings book we should have had already, except the cargo ship lost at sea.
I just talked to Donna, works at the office there just today, and she said that it should ship out by the end of the month.
Okay.
Sweet.
And then I'm waiting on The Expert by Todd Carr too. So
I actually have a couple of your books I still owe you.
Yeah, I know you've got my casino game protection.
I do.
And poker game protection. Yeah, I know you've got them.
When the pandemics have, we stopped being able to see each other.
Yeah.
But they're in good shape. All except I dog-eared a bunch of the pages. And I highlighted some things to show you.
Oh, okay.
Randy, you just take the pages you want out.
Oh, that's a great idea. That way
Yeah.
I can remember to easily to find.
Yeah, exactly. Just tear them out if you like the page.
And I can fold them where I want them to look.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, the most recent book I got was an update of the book Magical Heroes, which is about African American magicians. And the update is called That Old Black Magic. It's by Jim May. So.
Cool.
John, I like your wall behind you.
Yes.
Oh,
I was looking at it to see which of them
great.
that I actually have signed.
Yeah. This is, believe it or not, this display here was my wife's idea.
How did you decide what magazines to put up there?
I basically just grabbed, some of my favorite, they had my favorite magicians on there, of course, Copperfield, Chris Kenner, Zabrecki, Doc Eason, some of my favorites. But this one here, this is interesting. I wouldn't
Yeah.
necessarily say this guy would be my favorite,
Oh, Chris Angel.
but it is autographed.
Oh, okay.
It's one of the few actually hard copies of Vanish magazine, and it's
Yeah.
autographed. Chris
I
Angel.
brought a bunch of them to a lecture there in Kansas City because I got sent a whole box of them, and so I brought a bunch of them and gave them to Julia Clark to give at the SAM meetings and that, because I had some hard copies of it.
Nice.
Just so you know, he was on Hell's Kitchen tonight.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I thought, geez, he looked like he's 25 years old. Why does he look so young?
Only him and his plastic surgeon knows.
Obviously.
Yeah, he's 53. He's 53.
That's like once they asked Dolly Parton if her breasts were real or not, and she says yes, and I got the receipt to prove it.
That's funny.
Well, awesome, Mr. Shaun. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks,
I don't
dude.
usually get to come to these things anymore because I'm having to check it on tutors every night, Monday through Thursday. So I'm usually busy till 8 or 9 every night. But I move things around. When I knew it was Shaun, it's like, well, I can't miss that.
Oh yeah.
I mean, look at it this way, Shaun. I came to your lecture, but I had to watch. I watched the David Copperfield lecture to Ring 129 afterwards.
Oh, right on.
So you rate higher than David Copperfield.
I know.
I agree.
Say, Shaun, when I get up to Kansas City, I got your email here. I'll drop your email, or maybe we can get together. Me, you, my wife, and your boss too.
Yeah, that would be great. Let's do it.
Yeah, because that's like a long, long time ago. Someone asked me who the boss was in the family, and I told him I said, let me ask my wife and find out.
As
So
they say,
clearly you were still in training, because if you'd had she trained you correctly, you wouldn't have hesitated and said my wife.
Trained.
You wouldn't have had to ask her who was the boss.
Yeah.
Trained. I'm barely housebroke. Look at this. No shoes. I'm barely housebroke. I couldn't resist. I had to do that.
Thank you, Shaun. I really appreciate you sharing.
My pleasure.
Thank
Yes,
you.
this has been,
I had a
this
great
has
time
been
too.
fantastic.
Have a good night.
Yep.
All right. And yay, Brian, to everybody.
Yay, Brian.
Well, it's been a nice evening, but I'm going to go. Great bunch of people. And me too. Have a good evening, folks. Bye-bye.
See ya.
Hey, Brian.
Bye.
Good times. Good times.
Yep. All right. I'm probably I'm not probably. I am gonna go because I still have to go get some dinner and go home. I'm still in the office. So
Wow.
well, like I said, I'm usually here till 8 or 9 every night because I'm having to check in on tutors. So
Yeah.
I wish you all well. It's good to see all of you. I haven't gotten to see too many of you in ages. So take care.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
It's been a long time.
Yep. Everyone take care. Has everybody been able to get vaccinated yet, or are you on the waiting list, or?
I've got both shots. Moderna, Team
One
Moderna here.
advantage to being old.
Yeah, I told people this is the first time being old and diabetic was an advantage.
Shaun, thank you also very much for allowing the recording and allowing us to actually review it again. We
Yeah,
truly
of course.
appreciate it.
No
Yeah,
problem
no,
at
that's
all.
really important.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Nice to meet you.
I will
You
post it
too.
up on, I'll post a YouTube link probably tomorrow on the Facebook page for people to look at. We'll try to send it out in an email as well. And I'll keep it up for maybe a couple weeks and then I'll take it down. Does that sound good, Shaun? Is that good for you?
Sounds good to me.
And then if you want, I'll send you a link that you can, a Zoom link you can go to and download it for yourself.
Perfect.
All right. Yay, Brian.
All right.
All right. Well, good night, everybody.
All right. See you all.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.